friends, it's Ellen here at Yarn Doc, and it's time for Whipping It Up Wednesday. Welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you are a returning friend. I actually don't feel like I have a lot to show you this week. I feel like I actually did a lot of stitching and don't have a lot to show for it, but I am wearing my only finished object this week. I'm jumping right in, okay? The 4-year-old and 8-year-old decided to throw themselves a party at 3 a.m. this morning, and yeah, so I'm just going for it today because I'm in that kind of like get stuff done. So we're starting with my finished object, and I'm going to talk about my plans, and then I have, I said I needed to slow down on the acquisitions because I've run out of room. That's the only reason. But I have a lot of acquisitions. So I'm just going to get going. Back to it. This is my only finished object. This is my crowet scarf. What is a crowet scarf, you ask? That is a scarf that is part crocheted, part knit. So if you've been around here for any length of time, you know I am, after 35 years of crocheting, learning to knit. And I learned to knit backward. This week, I did learn to knit correctly, and I'm pretty sure that I learned to knit correctly, and I'm doing it right now. So much easier. I should have listened when everybody's like, it looks really complicated what you're doing, and that's really tight and hard, and it shouldn't be. Yeah, when you do it right, it's not. It's amazing. Anyway, so that I did learn, but when I used tutorials by Mima Makes that I will try to link below. If not, I will link to her channel, and her videos are literally learn to knit, learn to purl. And within like just a couple of minutes, she had me all straightened out and like it was off to the races. So I could not recommend those tutorials more. Way better. Way, 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 way better than that Craftsy class that I took. We'll come back to Craftsy in a minute. But yeah, highly recommend. However, when I first learned, I learned from taking a class on Craftsy. You can check out that video if you're interested. And I didn't end up making the project. Check out that video for more information. But what I did is a bunch of swatches, essentially, in the various stitches. And, one of them was supposed to be, let's see here, moss stitch. This one here was supposed to be moss stitch, but it turned out to be 1x1 rib. It's fine. So I did 3 swatches of each just because I wanted to practice casting on and practice the stitch and practice casting off. And then this all started because I was doing a yarn review of this yarn. It's from Temu. You've probably seen it. I actually bought it because I was wondering, like, is it Red Heart? Like, because sometimes they do the very similar labels or that, and it's got a giant red heart on it. It's not. This is not Red Heart. This is soft. I mean, so many of us started on Red Heart. I'm not knocking Red Heart. It's like, seems to be just a part of the journey, but this is a very soft acrylic. You notice the difference as soon as you touch it. But I bought it from Temu, and I was just wondering if it was sort of like knockoff Red Heart, but I don't think it is. And I do think it, for an acrylic, lives up to its name of super soft. But I will have a review of this yarn, not Monday. I think it's like the Monday after. I don't know. time is like escaping me. It seems to be going twice as fast as it used to. But I had done the washer dryer swatches in crochet. So I was making my knit swatches about the size of my crochet granny squares. And I just got this idea, like, why not make a project that mixes both and crochet it all together in a scarf? And I don't know if there's a term for it, so I made up my own and I call it Crow-It. So crochet, knit, Crow-It, you get it. So anyway, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. It was kind of a project that developed as it was happening. And so my squares aren't always the same length. They were pretty close to the same width, but then when I would pick up the stitches to crochet them together, some of them got a little bubbly and that, but when I did it as an infinity scarf style, that kind of works as well. So I think on, it looks better than off. And I'll put some pictures of it off here so that you can see what the whole scarf looks like. But yeah, it was kind of fun, and it's just sort of my little memento of learning to knit. And I thought it was a fun way to combine both these fiber crafts, the one that I know so well and the one that I am learning to love. And yeah, this bright pop of color is kind of fun too. So that is my only finished object. And the reason it's my only finished object is because I'm about to turn into a Britney Spears song. Yeah, you ready? Ready for it? Oops, I did it again. And yeah, so I am working my way through all of the Christmas makes. And my oldest has had a significant other for about 7 years now. And I think they're going to spend Christmas with us, but you know, when you're in your early 20s and that, like, committing to something months in advance is like the end of the world. So I'm not sure, but I wanted to make sure that he had things like, I have his stocking, and I wanted to make sure that I had presents in that for him. And I had this alpaca tweed from Do Store Alpaca, and I didn't know what. I just bought it because they had an incredible sale on Yarn Mania. I think it was about 70% off. And it gave me a chance to try yarns that I wouldn't normally be able to purchase, or wouldn't purchase on a regular basis just because of the price point. And so I had 4 balls of it. They're like little donut skeins. And so they were only 50-gram skeins, and I have to stop thinking that I can make a hat out of a 50-gram skein. We know that I cannot. Well, again, I cannot. And actually, I probably could have made it out of 2 skeins, but I already had skein number 3 attached to the scarf, which I really think at this width, it isn't blocked, but that's pretty much the width of it, that is probably too narrow still for a man's scarf. What do you think? Too narrow? And I can't really show it to you because it is attached to the hat. Because I started working on ball 4 just on a basic single crochet rib hat to go with the back loop, front loop alternating single crochet scarf. I think that's a nice sort of masculine, whatever that means, pattern. And with the brown tweed, I thought it was good for him. The hat is, I can't even, it's still attached. So like if I seamed it up now at full stretch, I can see myself, I look ridiculous. But yeah, you can see that if I seamed it up there, it's very tight on my head, and he's like full man sized. So I assume his head is bigger than mine. And so it just needs like 2 or 3 more rows. And I was going to steal, I've already stolen a row of the scarf for it, thinking that might get me there. It didn't. And this is a nightmare to frog. This yarn was a nightmare to frog. I actually had the tweezers out at a few points, just trying to, without ripping the yarn. Anyway, I got one row out and I'm like, no. And it's too thin. So I broke down last night. Well, I went back to Yarn Mania, but it's on sale again. So they had 1 ball left, and I really think I need 2. I really think, to be on the safe side, to make sure that I can make the scarf a width that I'm going to be happy with and finish the hat, I needed 2. So, because they're not getting me very far. They're supposed to be, let me see here. Yeah, see, they're only 80 meters in a 50 gram hank. So it doesn't get me very far. So I needed 2. So I found 2 balls for actually less money. For some reason, usually Yarn Mania is cheaper than Garnius, which is like a play on genius. At least what I usually watch there is the price of drops. Yarn Mania is the absolute lowest price for drops that I have found in Europe. But Garnius was cheaper for Do Store Alpaca, despite the sale on Yarn Mania. It was a little bit on sale. It was like 23% on sale on Garnius, but not the major sale that Yarn Mania has. So that was good to learn. But both of them, to get free shipping, I had to spend a lot more than 2 balls of yarn, and I went back and forth and was like, okay, am I finally going to bite the bullet and order some drops? But I don't have a project for it, and I do have 2 projects, like large sort of sweater size projects that I want to buy the yarn for. And there's one more project that I allowed myself to buy yarn for. But those, I know what yarn I want and what brand, and like it's a very specific vision in my mind. And they weren't available on either Yarn Mania or Garnius. So I bit the bullet and I just paid shipping. I just ordered the 2 balls, which I like. That's something for me, especially because the shipping was like a 1/3 ball of yarn. Anyway, I did it. It's done. I hope it comes soon, because I would like, this would have been a finished project today if I didn't run out of yarn again. And you can see like they're attached to each other. That's how much. And I haven't bound either off because I want to see about making sure that I have enough to tie on the new balls and yada, yada, yada. Yeah? Anyway, so that should have been a finished object, but I pulled the Britney Spears. So, yeah, that is, oh, I'm a liar. I'm a liar. I'm a big fat liar. Coffee, sorry. I went to an unwanted party at 3 a.m. and didn't really get back to sleep. The boys went back to sleep as soon as they were ordered back to bed. I did not. I do have a finished object, but part of the reason why I forgot this is because most of the finishing I didn't do. My mother has been watching my videos though, and apparently she heard somewhere that I can sew. And now she's talking about like not doing my sewing for me anymore. She misses the point that she likes sewing. That's her hobby. And I hate it. I don't know what it is. I don't mind sewing like these together because I'm doing it with yarn. I think there's something about switching from yarn to thread that just makes me go, not my thing. Not my thing. But I did the crochet, okay? Oh, I will try to, stand up. So this is a single bed size blanket using the cat stitch. All acrylic yarns that I had in my stash. So a stash buster. But this is a Christmas present for my crazy about cats loving son. And what wasn't done is the back had not been sewn on. So all of that is done. And it is ready to go into a box and get wrapped up and be done for Christmas. So I have shown this blanket before when it was as a whip without the backing on. So the backing is on and it's done, but really I have to say that's mostly a mom's finished object because, well, the crochet was already done. The crochet was already done. Well, that's not true. I still had the ball attached because I wasn't sure if for sewing it on, I needed to flatten out that top edge of the cat. But she decided I didn't. So all I did was go in and tie the ball off and weave the end into the back. None of my ends are woven in. You know that if I have put a backing on a blanket, it's because I didn't weave anything in. That's why I put a backing on blankets, is to hide ends. Usually. Sometimes on a baby blanket, especially if I've used acrylic yarn, I will put like a flannel backing on because then it's really soft. And I kind of like that. So it's not 100% of the time that there's a backing on to hide ends, but it's a pretty good guess that if I put a backing on a blanket, I'm being lazy. But it also looks nice and very polished and finished. And so, yeah, we'll see if I keep doing it after Mom stops sewing for me. But for now, I like that look. What else do I have on the go? Good question. So I had 2 more whips that I was sort of working on throughout this week, and both are knit so far. The first one you've seen before, I call it the Derek Crowet Scarf. And this is wanting to be a tube at the moment. It really is just stockinette. This is Gazel Happy Feet, I think. Give me a tag here. Yeah. Gazel Happy Feet in the color Toffee. It's hand painted. And there's something I have never seen with this yarn. And I'm sorry, I've got it all caked up, so I don't have the hank to show. It is the first time that I've ever seen a hank that was intentionally split. And I kept thinking, it took me until the third hank to realize what was going on. I mean, it's sock yarn and it's called Happy Feet. And so it is evenly split into 50 grams. They're 100 gram hanks, but they're evenly split into 50-gram halves. One per sock. Do you know how long it took me? I kept thinking, this is defective yarn. Like, why? You know, I bought it from a reputable store. It's a big name brand. Why is it like hanged this way? Because you have 2 feet. So anyway, that was interesting. Took me a while to realize I hadn't bought defective hanks. I bought hanks that were intended for a particular purpose, which I was not using it for. So why did I tie this off? Because clearly we are not at proper scarf length. Even blocked, this is not going to be. I'm hoping that the blocking will help with the curling. What I think will also help with the curling is I am now going to crochet and turn it into a crowet. Now my plan, my original plan when I started this was I just wanted some practice knitting, and I was going away and I just wanted something small that could fit in my purse that I could just, it was my coffee project while I was in Croatia, but it was also my like on the go, because if it was the smallest of the projects that I took, and then it could be in my purse, and when I'd get a spare minute or sitting by the water or something like that, I could pull out a project and just be in my happy place, both in actuality and mentally. And then 1 week into that trip, I learned I was knitting completely wrong. Like everything backward. Every last thing. So my fabric looks okay. Like I don't have twisted stitches. But I literally was doing everything backward. And it's so tight. Like the way I was doing it just makes it so tight. Like for every stitch, I'm shoving the needles in and like pulling it off. And so it was like getting buff arms from knitting the Ellen way. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to finish this one that way and then learn to knit properly. And I cast something else on. You'll see that in a second. Learning to knit. Thank you, Mima. I think her name's Emily. And I went, this is so different. And I had to keep reminding myself with every stitch, no, wrap it this way, not this way. Wrap it this way, not this way. And there is part of a row in my other project, which I'm not going to rip out because sometimes, first of all, it's for my husband. He'll never notice. He will never notice. And sometimes I think keeping those little flaws in, it's like the memory. It's like preserving that memory. My niece has, I think it was the second blanket I ever made, but it might be the first crochet blanket I ever made. She was a baby. It is terrible. It is terrible. It is a complete bed-sized double crochet blanket. That's all it is, double crochet. But I didn't use stitch markers because, well, I don't know. I didn't use stitch markers the way that people don't use footnotes. Students don't use footnotes when they're submitting papers. It's wrong thinking. But so, I would chain up on the side to get my height. And sometimes I worked into the chain and sometimes I didn't. So it has gotten holes in it. And instead of just getting rid of the blanket, she asked me to fix it, and so I sort of sewed it up. I really just sewed it up and then put appliques on either side to try to protect the reinforced area. I am embarrassed by it. Like, I'm embarrassed by it, but that it's still there and she still loves it. And sort of that piece of my journey still exists. And I can look back and say, you didn't start out, you didn't start out being able to do this. And a few weeks ago, I made a blanket for the dog bed that I wasn't paying attention to, and I wasn't using stitch markers because it was big, chunky velour yarn. And I said in that video, I'm not going to fix it. I did the same thing. I was watching TV. I was talking to the kids. I was just going around. I'm like, I got this. I don't have to pay any attention. Its yarn was too chunky for my stitch markers. And I'm like, I can make a basic rectangle with my eyes closed. Yeah. But I said, I'm not going to fix it because it's for the dogs and it's already like in pieces. It is in pieces. It's garbage already. So, it's sometimes just good to have those memories and takes you back to when you made it and, see how far you've come or not come. As the case may be. But in having started that the right way and realizing, it's already so hard to reprogram my brain and my hands as to which way to go. And there have been a few times where I find myself doing this, like, that I'm like, I have to stop knitting wrong. So I cast it off and decided I will crochet the bottom part of each side and the border around it. So really make it a true crowet scarf. And I could not find, I think what I need is a 2mm crochet hook. I did this on 2.5mm needles, but as I said, it's super tight. I'm really seeing the difference between knitting properly and the way I've been knitting. And so I thought what I need is a 2mm hook. I can't find mine anywhere. I have all of my other micro crochet hooks. I have every other size. I don't know where it is, and I think I only have one. But I was going through my hook stash, and I found this guy. Take my face out of there. It's a boy hook. I didn't even know I had them. And I think it is, look at USA 35 cents. It's an antique hook, and I don't know where it came from or how it ended up in my hook stash. And it's a tapered head, and if you know me, you know I'm an inline girl, but I kind of want to use it. And it just says 00. So, I mean, it's a US hook, so they wouldn't have been using millimeters at that time. And so I'm not even sure what size it is, but it looks like about the right size for it. So that's what I'm going to try. It was my little find. So that I just did recently, and I was focused on the other project. And so I think this is what I will try to finish up, or will be sort of my focused project for the next few days. And then this is also Gazelle, but I think this is Gazelle Unicorn. Yeah, Gazelle Unicorn, hand painted, and the color is Moon Mist. This is 100% superwash merino. This is 100 grams for 197 meters. And this, I have 3 hanks of it. And I really hope I don't, oops, I did it again. I don't know what is going on with me, why all of a sudden I can't figure out how much yarn I need for things. But this is the Properly knit beginning of a scarf for the hubby. And I'm hoping to make him a scarf and hat set for Christmas. Most people are getting scarves. Some are getting scarves and hats. Actually, so many are that I realized there was only one child that I was not making a scarf for. So I since added. Because I can't, I mean, if you don't know, I have seven. And one of them has a very significant other. And so even he is getting a scarf, and I'd left out one of the boys. So I added yet another Christmas present to the list. So that is that. It's just, I'm just doing stockinette, just wanting to practice knit and purl, knit and purl, knit and purl. English style, which I don't know, for me makes the most sense. I know that people say crocheters should learn continental because I don't know why, actually. They say it's closer to crochet or something, but I think I have this sort of programmed idea about what knitting looks like in my head, and to me that's English style, and so it just made more sense in doing it. And now that I actually know where to put the needle and the yarn, that was really revolutionary, but it's working much better. So, and why I'm doing his just in stockinette to really sort of reinforce the knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, move the yarn the right way, this way, that way, this way, that way, is because it is time, I think this week, if it's not this week, it really needs to be like Monday. It's time to start the next Craftsy class, Craftsy review, and that will be this. I caked up the yarn. Came as donuts. I hate working from a donut. And this isn't mohair, it's brushed alpaca, but whether it's mohair or brushed alpaca or brushed merino or any of these like really halo-y fluff yarns, I find that it's easier to work with if you've caked them, because however they come, they've been like really close together, and those threads have become good friends, and so I'm fighting to pull out all the time. So I don't like working from a donut, and fluff yarn I feel is better when it's been rewound. So I did go ahead, and when I was winding the other stuff up, wound this up as well. And this will be for my oldest. The next course I'm doing is knitting in the round. Okay. And the project is what looks like a very pretty sort of scarf. I guess it's like an infinity scarf, but it seems like maybe there's a little triangle on it. I haven't started the course yet, but there are some pictures in the write-up and that about it. And I need to get started on it. So that is coming hopefully this week. So hopefully next Wednesday I will be showing you at least a little bit of progress on this. And then that review will be able to be done. And there are 2 other projects that I'm hoping to cast on in the next week, but realizing that I probably have some unrealistic goals. Yeah, I just realized something. I realized a deadline that I'd forgotten, You may remember the silver ball shawl, which still is not completed, the main one, and I am working on the tutorial and pattern for that. It's going to come out slowly because I'm focused on Christmas stuff, so it's kind of shelved at the moment, except the one that I'm doing as the tutorial is a Christmas present, so it's kind of shelved, kind of not. But the gold ball is in 2 weeks, and I have the yarn for it. You'll see it in my acquisitions. Yarn that I have bought now to do this shawl 4 or 5 times. Different yarns from different places, but I'll go, oh, that would be good for that. I'll buy it. And then because it's not started yet, it's still on there as a project that I want to do and want to make. And so I'm like, oh, that yarn would be good for that. And I buy it. So, yeah. So this, what I'm holding in my hands, probably is going to get pushed off another week. This is the sweater that I promised my youngest. I would make him a blue sweater for Christmas. The only progress so far is that I took the donut skeins and I caked them. I had a big cake making afternoon just to get all the projects ready so that they're ready to go and I can just grab the bag and everything. Like I put all the hooks in and figured out what patterns I was going to do. So there was a lot of stuff that was done this week that doesn't result in whips and finished objects, but was more planning for. Because a lot of them, it was like, I'm going to make a scarf. I'm going to make a sweater. But now I have like, I'm going to make this pattern. I am going to use this hook. I have the yarn ready to work with. So, but this might get pushed off a week so that I can do that shawl. And if you remember, I wanted to make 2 Christmas things for me. One, just a basic shawl. Scarf. The word is scarf. I have some really pretty yarn from Teddy that I bought that is white and red and has sparkle in it. And now I'm debating like doing something more substantial than a scarf with it. Anyway, I'm pushing that off because I had a shawl also that I wanted to make with this lovely Vol Amore bauble. And I found a pattern, which is pretty much exactly what I want. It's for the red part, the top, it's pretty plain, but loose and drapey. And then when I get to the green, it's going to be Christmas trees. Because the Germans added the tradition of the Christmas tree to the Christmas celebration. And so, if you don't know, I live in Germany. And my husband is a church superintendent. So he oversees a church district and the pastors in it. And so at Christmas time, there's a lot of services and a lot of Christmas stuff. And the churches are not heated for the most part because they're 600, 700, 800 years old. And so I just wanted something really pretty. And I had this, and I have yet to work with any of my Vol Amore cakes. Or baubles. I just have them there and I look at them and they're pretty. And so, but it is a bauble and I'm not going to be able to whip that up in a weekend. So I need to get started because I will want to start wearing it at Advent. So come December. So that does also need to get started this week. Maybe I shouldn't make these videos because I think I just got myself a little bit overwhelmed with this week's whips and I'm trying to do the tutorials and get these patterns that I have created actually out and available. I know that some of you are looking forward to the olive oil scarf. And I think I have pretty much figured out how to put the pattern from my written out and drawn chart onto the computer. And then I have to figure out how to put it up on Ravelry. It will be free. It will be a free pattern. And at some point I will also make a tutorial video for it, but it's just a little bit lower on the list. You might have noticed there wasn't a video in the new series yesterday. That's because I can't read a calendar. And this is not November. And I intended to start Tutorial Tuesdays in November. And we are actually still in October. So the first one will come out on Tuesday, and it will be a hockey puck. And I had the black one, the prototype, in here. And I think my boys stole it and were using it as a puck with brooms in the house, because things like hockey sticks and balls and that are not allowed in the house. Our house is too small with too many people and too many animals in it for that kind of stuff flying around. So they use brooms. Mm-hmm. And so my hockey puck is, I don't know where, but the tutorial for that will come out on Tuesday, and will be with a light colored yarn. So just understand that, yes, I know hockey pucks are usually black, and I did do a black one, but you wouldn't be able to really see what I was doing. So I am doing a light colored one, and then I'm going to put on mine a maple leaf applique, because whether I'm supporting Team Canada in hockey or the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm going to put a maple leaf on my hockey puck. So, but that is not part of the tutorial. The tutorial is just the hockey puck. And so mostly I would really love some feedback on whether you like the way the tutorial is done, whether you can really see what I'm doing. And so I thought I'd start with something small and simple before I got into some more complex garment stuff, and just sort of see how that works, since it's the first one and it's a new series. It will not be every week. I just can't add another whole video to each week. I'm going to try and do it sort of the first Tuesday of the month. But that's the idea with that. I'm going to move into acquisitions because I feel like I've been talking forever and I didn't really think I had anything to say. And you're like, since when does that stop you from talking, Ellen? Well, I don't know, never. My first acquisition is my mother's fault. I'm blaming her. There is a store here that sells just a teeny tiny little bit of yarn. But it has been a constant source of acquisitions for me. It's not a chain or anything. It's just a local shop. And it is kind of like combining Walmart with Home Depot and I don't know what else. Maybe like a dollar store, all sort of in one store, because they sell everything from lumber and garden supplies to party supplies to a little bit of yarn. And it seems like every time I go in there, I come out with a little bit of yarn. That's where I discovered the Happy yarn. That's where I found this yarn, which was my favorite yarn. And then they decided to discontinue it. It looks like a mess in the skein, but it works up beautifully. That's it knit, and that's how it's designed to knit up in the pattern. But it also works really well for crochet. It doesn't seem to matter what stitch I have used. I have used so much of this yarn. It is so soft, and I hadn't seen it for ages, and I found it in this store. They seem to be out of it. It must have just been something they had in closeouts. So, but sometimes I pop in there just to see if I can get some more of it. because I am very low in my stash. But Mom wanted to see this store. And so I went in and we, of course, went to look and see if there was any of my favorite yarn. And there wasn't. But in probably my least favorite Grindle yarn, there were some new colors. And I came home. Now those, when they're together, look like the same color, but they're not. These are true neons. Neon pink, neon orange, neon yellow, neon green. They're not coming up perfectly on camera, but this is like classic 80s. And maybe it's because I was like coming of age in the 80s. These were my formative years, but I see neon and I gravitate to it. I never wear neon. I don't even know that I wore it in the 80s. Maybe I did. I wasn't really dressing myself. Somebody else was making those decisions, but I just gravitate towards it. And the idea of pairing this with a black, like maybe this lovely Rebecca yarn, that tune in Friday and you will find out about this. This is not in today's video. This is a spoiler. But I have no idea what I'm going to make. I have no idea. But it was so inexpensive, and somehow there must have been a sale because I got 4 balls and paid for 3. So I don't know, but Mom was like, I want to see what you do with that. I want to see what you do with that. I'm going to watch your videos and see what happens to it. I don't know what will happen to it. I don't know when it will happen, but I just couldn't leave them in the store. I just couldn't do it. It was like, and normally like I don't have that issue. When I buy yarn, it's sort of conscious or like, oh, I'll give it a try or whatever. But I tried. I put it back and then it was still in my hand and I don't know why. But anyway, I'm blaming my mom because it was one of the last things we did before she left. And I actually have had it up here since I bought it. And every time I come in here, I'm like, oh, it's just making me happy. I don't know. Maybe you're going to start seeing me in neon all the time. But between this and that, I'm changing completely my entire wardrobe personality. I don't know, but yeah, it had to come home with me. You know, the Theta Garn, that's me in yarn. That's the kind of yarn I'm like, I can't live without this. It's so beautiful. I love it. But I couldn't go home without the neon. I don't know. So editing Ellen here, realized as I'm going through this and mentioned that Mom left, and this was one of the last things that we did before she left, I didn't show you the other major finished object from this week, and that was the shawl that I was making for her that I ran out of yarn for when we were on the Croatia trip. So here are some pictures of her wearing the shawl. If you would like more details about that project or the yarn or any of that, see Monday's video where I do a full review of the yarn and talk more about the project and making the project and that. But yeah, I knew I had done more this week than the one finished object. So yeah, that was also finished. I forgot. And that's what it looks like. Okay, back to acquisitions. Remember when I said I had a whole lot of Temu credit to use? This is the first of that purchase has come in. And it came in because I had to order more of the mohair to do Mom's sweater. You're probably wondering, where's the sweater? Not going to finish the What's in a Name make-along. Mad Mimi's Crochet and Farming is hosting a What's in a Name make-along where you are supposed to find a pattern with your name in the pattern name, not the designer. And I was designing this sweater for my mom that I named Ellen's Mom Sweater. Ellen's Mom Sweater. Cardigan. Ellen's Mom Cardigan. Because that was allowed. And I really was not finding patterns that would work. And then also Ellen's Crochet was participating. And the only pattern that I was considering is the one she ended up doing. And I figured, okay, we don't need two dry toque. So, which is triangle shawl. Basic triangle shawl. Nothing, no bells or whistles or anything on it. Just a basic triangle shawl. So I was like, okay, then I will design my own. I ran out of yarn again. So I now have the mohair. I had to order the other. And if you've been around, you know why that's painful and why I didn't want to do it. I really didn't want to do it. But I don't want to make my mother something that's I want to say half but I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that on YouTube. That is not my best possible work. And I figured out a different way to do the pockets so that I don't have to change the side seam and don't have to rip stuff out with mohair in it and sort of redesign that whole pattern after doing all the math to figure it out in the first place, which basically meant starting again. So, and it's going to be cool and still reversible. So hopefully it works the way it does in my mind. It does on paper. Anyway, I had to order more of the other yarn, so that's why there's no Mom Sweater on it. But that is what that is for. I bought more of the fluffy yarn that I made her shawl in, just in this colorway. It is much lighter than I was expecting and much bluer than I was expecting. I thought it was teal, but very much on the green end and much more vivid than it actually turns out to be. Which is okay, but I probably won't use it for what I was originally planning to use it for, which was to make like a blanket shawl for myself. The colors just are too light for me, but will work for lots of family, blah, 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 people in my life. And it makes a really, really cozy project. So, bought that. I bought this kind of cool looking, it says it's mohair, but it doesn't, don't think like mohair in the way that we traditionally think of it. You know, it's not that super fluff like this one. It is, okay, I can't open that. You know what mohair looks like typically. It is, I believe it's really sort of hard to see, but it looks like it's a blown yarn. So that white that you get, which makes it look sort of marbled or heathered, is actually the white tube with the black fibers blown into it. It's really soft. It is really, really, really soft. It also says cashmere on it. I don't know. It says 60% mohair, 30% cashmere, 10% anti-pilling fiber, which I am guessing is like the tube, whatever the tube is. And they're 50-gram hanks, and they're just really soft. And I'm so pleased with this purchase at this point. Do I have a plan? No. Nope. It's a yarn I bought from Temu to review. So there were 6 skeins of that in what I purchased. It does have the EU rep sign off on that fiber makeup. So, and holding it, I wasn't questioning. So anyway, that's lovely too. Very pleasantly surprised by this at the moment. I bought, you may have seen my review in my bright pink shawl from Six Shawl Summer, but it was a wool cashmere silk blend. I have it in several colors. It is gorgeous yarn. I love it. I love working with it. It might have been the first yarn I gave an A+ to on this channel. And when I need to add money or extra onto an order or spend free credit or that, I order some of it. Every time it seems to come with a different ball band and look a little different, but several different wholesalers offer this yarn in many colors and in many different size bundles. Like sometimes I bought it with 6, sometimes I bought it with a dozen, sometimes this one is 10 balls. It kind of depends on the vendor and the color choices. But this one is a little thinner than they usually are. But it's a very pretty blue. And as I said, it's a little bit thinner. And blue yarn is never a problem in this house. I have so many blue lovers, and that is it's such a beautiful color and I really like working with this yarn. So I bought a package of that, just sort of stashy. Bought a gauge square. I have ordered some of these wooden things before, like a weight measure, which was garbage, total garbage. It came like bent like that. And a size 5 yarn could fit in the lace weight. I threw it away. I just threw it away. But I thought I would get a gauge square. This one is nice and flat. It is actually the correct measurements. I double checked with not 1, not 2, but 3 other rulers just to make sure. And I thought this might be helpful, especially because I have a lot of knitting needles that don't have the size written on them anywhere. So I thought this would also be helpful for that. So it was less than €1. So I added that. Some crazy fun yarn. that again, like the one from last week, I thought it was going to be fluffy. It's not fluffy. It's not. It's actually quite similar to the one from last week, but kind of fun. And I think it can make just like a really fun scarf. I like scarves because they're really easy to make and make good gifts. And so sometimes when I'm not, when I don't have 100 whips on, I'll just make a scarf and sort of put it in a pile so that if something comes up or I've forgotten an occasion or that, I can grab a scarf from the pile and gift that. What are these things in here? What do I have down here? Oh, yeah. Okay. This yarn. This is not the first time I've done it with this yarn. It's glow-in-the-dark yarn. And it looked, on the picture, to me, it looked like pinks and grays in the variegation. This is what it actually looks like. And it looks like a big skein on the picture. But I know I've ordered the glow-in-the-dark yarn from Temu several times before. And I know that they're teeny tiny skeins. I have donated to the school so many skeins of glow-in-the-dark yarn. And this might just go to that. I don't like working with it. It's like a heavier weight cotton. So it's got a lot of oomph to it. And when you crochet with it, it's very thick. So I had made a wearable with it that I completely frogged. And I did keep some because I do have a project in mind for the little one's birthday. But yeah, this was probably a mistake. I am disappointed with it. But I don't know. It's there. Then I find myself a little bit obsessed with needle stoppers, stitch stoppers, whatever these things are called. They're so cute. I wanted Christmas ones, but not too like on the nose Christmas. Can you see that? Are you seeing him? He's cute. There are two of them. Yeah, some people collect stitch markers and that, but I'm very particular about my stitch markers. I have a system. It's what I like. I just stick to that. And I don't like anything that dangles on a stitch marker, but these like needle toppers, are they needle toppers? I use them all the time. Like even if I'm like pausing to talk to my kid, I stick it back on. I'm terrified of stitches falling off my needles. And I like to sort of match them to the project or the season so I think I paid €74 maybe for them. They were just too cute. There are so many options on there. This is the yarn for it's crinkly. I am sorry. I will do it quickly and put it down. That I was thinking of for the gold ball shawl. They're clearly trying to make you think it's opal. It's not opal. It's opie. I really hate when they do that. Like, it just feels dirty. Like, just be you. Just be you. Don't try to con people. Like, so I don't like that. And there are yarns on Temu that claim to be opal. I haven't bought them yet. As you know, I bought the Rowan stuff and it's not Rowan. It's absolutely not Rowan. Do not be fooled. They sell what they call magic balls or Zauber balls, making you think that it's that, but they're not. They're not. What I will show you next is, okay, there are two brands that you can buy on Temu that are brands that you will find in your local yarn store that are pretty reliably what they claim to be on Temu, and partially it's because they are major brands made in China that are either being sold by that yarn company at significantly cheaper prices than your local yarn store, but they are more than the typical yarns on Temu. Anyway, that is one option for the gold ball shawl. If you were around like a month ago, you know I started a gold ball shawl with a yarn from Stenley. It's not, the pattern I picked is gorgeous pattern. It's a gorgeous pattern from Olga Poltava. But it's just not really working with the yarn and for the purpose that I wanted. And I don't think I really picked the right yarn for it. So I have some options for the gold ball shawl, but right now I don't even know if I'm going to get to go to the gold ball because our babysitter has long-term sick leave, and so yeah, we will see. This is just 100% silk. It is black. It is black. I really, really, really like the lace weight silk that you can get on Temu, and the price of this for 300 grams was just too good to pass up. The hanks are terrible and they are a real pain to cake, but really gorgeous yarn. So from time to time, I buy a color in pure silk. I have done the burn test. It does seem to be silk. Signed off by the EU rep as well, responsible person, I mean. And so, yeah, I just picked up some black. And, I did a review of this sock yarn, which has a very, very interesting fiber makeup in actually this colorway. I needed, I think, like 90 cents more on my order in order to go from 30 euros credit back to almost 80 euros credit back. So I threw in a ball of this because I know I liked working with it. It knitted great, it crocheted great, and it's a very variegated yarn, but a variegation that looks good in both crafts. So if you are a beginner, it is a really good yarn because you can do something very, very simple in your stitch work and yet have something that looks quite interesting and intricate. So I picked up another ball of it just to push myself over on the, do you ever do that credit back thing? That is how I got, the total for this haul, but it had other things in it like undershirts for the boys and just a whole lot of stuff. I spent, my total was 130 euros and I paid 10.64. And then I got 79.86 in credit back. it's like I'm making money. They're giving me stuff. But you have to sort of know which Temu things to do and what's worth it and what's not. And that was a bit of a learning process, let me tell you. And so this is one of the yarns that you can reliably believe, one, the fiber content and the information on the listing, and that it is the brand that it says it is, and that's Yarn Avenue. If you see Yarn Avenue yarns, they really are Yarn Avenue yarns. The other one is Lotus. Lotus yarns on Temu are usually Lotus yarns. Lotus yarns are sold by the manufacturers. Yarn Avenue yarns are sold by Yarn Avenue. So it's easier to tell. And this is an undyed hank of, I think this one's cashmere, 100% cashmere. Interesting. It doesn't say on the band. Here it says 100% cashmere, 50 grams for 200 meters. Undyed. Yes. Not for not for months, but I want to just play around with a little bit of dye. I'm not going to turn into a dyer. I just wanted to play a little bit. And so I purchased a bunch of Yarn Avenue and Lotus undyed yarns just to play. And it will be sometime in the new year, probably around spring, that I even attempt this. But I had the credit, and then Temu also does these offers where it's like, pick something and get up to 99% off. And so I've been picking some of this undyed stuff and getting it for pennies on the dollar. And so I just started collecting a few of the undyed. This feels so nice and squishable. This is lovely yarn. And so just sort of when it comes up and I don't have other things to purchase, then I've been picking up some of these undyed for a much later just experiment. I might try to do it with my kids as just sort of like a fun sort of sciencey thing. I don't know, but I am not going down that road. It is not something I'm going to start as a secondary hobby. It's just something I'm going to try for fun. Like I tried tie-dye once. Like I'm not going to become a tie-dyer, and this is kind of the same thing. I just thought it would be a fun thing to do one time. So yeah, that is the massive Temu haul. There is another one. You should probably see it next week. And again, that was an order I placed because I had a ton of Temu credit, like again, over 100 euros worth of credit. And I ran out of yarn on a project. 'Tis the season. 'Tis the season to lose yarn chicken. Like, I don't know. But that does seem to be the way of it for me at the moment. I'm at the end, folks. I'm done. I'm going to go finish my coffee, and then I'm going to edit this and post it for you. If you're still here and you're not subscribed, please consider doing that. It is really helpful to me and doesn't cost you anything. If you sat through this, you might as well thumbs up. And if you have anything to say, I'd love to hear it. I love to chat in the comments. No one around here wants to chat yarn with me anymore. So yeah, comment it up. I'm here for all of it. And that's it. That's it for me this week. I have a lot of work to do, so I am going to go get at it. And in the meantime, friends, tune in Friday. That's the Croatia vlog and yarn haul. So you'll get to see a little bit of the holiday and the fun things that I brought back. And then the following Friday will be the Italy vlog and yarn haul. And now I really am stopping and wishing you a week of happy stitching.